Does this router make a good AirPort Extreme or time capsule replacement? Have a look at 15 of my favorite Synology RT2600ac features. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? This is Jeff Benjamin with 9to5Mac. I have in the house right here the latest router from Synology. Yes, indeed, this is the RT2600ac inside this box, the direct sequel to the RT1900ac, and this thing has a whole host of interesting upgrades and features, and we're going to explore some of them in this video. Now I am replacing an Apple AirPort Extreme, so this is really sort of a different ballpark for me to be playing in right now, but I am excited about some of the features that this offers. And one of the things that really stood out to me was the web-based interface. You can actually manage this router directly from your iPhone if you want to. Of course, you can manage it from the web on your Mac, and it's really straightforward and has a lot of powerful features, but it's also very user-friendly, and that's what I appreciated about this. And that's what I appreciate about Synology products in general, with like Disk Station Manager and things like that. It's so simple, straightforward, but there are lots of powerful features if you want to take advantage of those. So let's go ahead and unbox the RT2600ac right now, and let's see what's inside here. So here's the top of the box, pretty simple packaging there. Now I'm just going to take the lid off, if I can. There we go. All right, so here's what's inside the box. You have the router here, and then you have accessory box right here. So let's go ahead and open up the accessory box first of all. And let's see what's inside here. I'm going to guess there's a power adapter. And I was right. So you have a power adapter. So you have a Cat 5e cable here. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove the router. So here is our Synology router inside here. So we're just going to unwrap it. So here you go, folks. This is it. Again, this is the RT2600ac. On the bottom here, you have these 2 feet. You have a couple of mount holes. You have 2 rubber feet down here on the back. You have a power button, you have a DC input, a reset, little hole there, 2 spots for the antennas, and then you have USB 2.0 port. You can use that actually for 4G hotspots. You have a WAN port, this is your primary WAN port. You also have a secondary WAN port, which is actually a LAN port, but can be used as a WAN port if you have 2 internet connections, for instance. So you had 2 cable connections, for whatever reason, 2 cable modems. You could actually have both of them hooked up for redundancy. So this also acts like a LAN port as well. So if you want to connect 4 devices over Ethernet, you could, if you wish to do so. So pretty cool features there for the Synology RT2600ac. So on this side, you have another spot for an antenna. You have a USB 3.0 port, so you can connect USB drives and basically make this its own little NAS if you wish to do so. And there's also an eject button here. And then on the opposite side, you have 2 buttons here. You have a WPS button and a Wi-Fi button, and you also have another antenna thread. So that's 4 antennas total. You have several indicator lights. You have a status light, you have 2.4 gigahertz, you have 5 gigahertz, you have WAN 1, WAN 2, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are your LAN lights there. So again, like I said, you could have a second WAN port, which will take away from one of the LAN ports you have on your Synology RT2600ac. Now there are a few additional things in this box that you might just need, and of course I am talking about the antennas. So you get 4 antennas inside here. So there's 1, 2, 3, there's one hiding down here, 4. And you also have a quick installation guide. And there's one over here. The great thing about this router is that it is relatively future-proof. It supports the latest 802.11ac Wave 2 standard, which gives it multi-user MIMO support. So you get 4x4 multi-user MIMO, meaning that this thing is going to be able to, instead of talking sequentially to individual devices on your network, it's going to be able to talk to multiple devices at the same time. So you're going to get better performance in theory. Now, of course, the devices, the client devices, will need to support multi-user MIMO as well. So it'll probably be a while before we get a full network that supports this. But that means that the RT2600ac is relatively future-proof, at least for the time being. Now, this router enables up to 800 megabits per second on the 2.4 gigahertz network and over 1700 megabits per second on the 5 gigahertz network. That gives you combined wireless bandwidth of over 2.5 gigabits per second. Now, Synology's SRM interface, which is used to configure the router, is very snappy, very responsive, and that's in part thanks to the 1.7 gigahertz dual-core processor that lies inside the RT2600ac. You also get half a gig of RAM. Smart Connect is a super handy feature that combines the router's SSID with the shared settings for the 2.4 and 5 GHz bands. This allows automatic seamless switching between those two bands depending on where you are in relation to the router. So you can see I am connected to one SSID, that is Fireworks. And if I open up the DS Router app, you're going to see that I'm connected right now to the 2.4 GHz band. Now, Smart Connect can be configured in SRM inside of the Network Center. You'll find it on the Wireless tab. So to test this out, I've moved my iPhone right next to the router, and you can see right there I am on the 5 GHz band. So it switched automatically and seamlessly while connected to the same SSID. Super handy feature. To manage the router's settings, you can download Synology's DS Router app. Now, this application is a fairly straightforward and simple app. It is similar to AirPort utility where you can go in and manage the router's various settings. It's not as robust as the SRM web interface, but it gets the job done if you don't need to do anything particularly complex. So you can monitor and control traffic, check link info, modify the Wi-Fi settings. You can even do things like turn off the LED lights, or turn them back on for that matter. And you can also eject the USB devices connected to your router, just like this. And one of the really nice features about this app, and one that I use all the time, is the usage tab. And this allows you to monitor traffic in real time, so you can see upload and download for all of the devices connected to your router. Now, Synology's routers run SRM, which is the operating system that is accessible via a web interface. And this is really what makes this router so special, because SRM is excellent. It is a windowed interface. So you have a start menu-like button in the upper left-hand corner. You can add shortcuts to your desktop. You can access those items just by clicking on them. And it's just a very familiar interface. It's not overly complex like some router interfaces are, but don't get it twisted. The ease of use doesn't mean that this thing isn't powerful, because there are a lot of power user features wrapped in this friendly looking interface. And you'll find tons of really granular settings that you can go in and adjust and really like turn the knobs of the router to make it just like you want it. But again, there are packages that you can download, such as VPN Plus Server, which allows you to run your own VPN. You can download that from the package center. And you can see the windows. It's very much like a desktop on a native OS. You can even maximize windows, minimize windows. There's even an expose-like feature so that you can view all of the open windows at once, just like that. So DS Router is a great app for quick settings changes and monitoring, but for the real experience, you definitely want to go into SRM and get your hands dirty. If you have children, then you'll no doubt appreciate the parental control feature found in Network Center in SRM. So all you need to do is click on Parental Control, and there you'll see fine-grained control that you can have over every client device connected to your network. So the PS4 is here. I can turn on a web filter. I can enable safe search. I can even choose when this device is allowed online and when it is not. Now, if you go into the web filter, You have your typical block access to known malicious websites. You have adult websites you can block, but you also have the ability to block access to custom websites. So if you go in here, you can select edit block list. You can add or check specific categories, or you can go in to the customization section and add your own websites if you wish to do that. That is one feature, but I really like this internet allow time feature. So you can go in here, click that, and then you can choose when your children or when a particular client device is able to access the internet and when it is not. So you can see here that the PS4 can only get online on the weekends and on Friday after school. As we showed you during the unboxing, the side of the router contains a USB 3.0 port. So essentially what you can do is connect an external drive like this one here and turn this router into a Synology NAS. Once you have an external drive connected, you can go in a control panel and go to storage and find that drive there, and you can adjust any user permissions, you can rename it, etc. Once you finish the configuration, you can go to File Station and find the drive, and you can start adding files to that drive or downloading files from that drive. Works just like a Synology NAS. Pretty awesome. In fact, I can play a video directly from the drive over the network. Just like that. So if you're curious as to what a Synology NAS is like, what it's like to use DSM, this is very, very similar to what you will experience using a Synology NAS proper. And there's also an SD card slot, which can be used for storage as well, hiding out down front. Package Center is loosely synonymous with the App Store on an iOS device. It's here where you can go and download various applications that are designed to run on your router. And not only can you download router-centric apps like VPN Plus Server, but you can also download NAS-centric apps like Download Station or Media Server, and these can be stored directly on an external drive that is connected to your Synology router. So again, a lot of overlap with some of Synology's NAS products, and really this is like a taste test, so to speak, for what you would expect from a Synology NAS. You're not going to be able to get the full experience, but as you can see, it's still extremely capable. And you can see right now that I am downloading the Media Server app, and I'll speed that up just a little bit so it can complete. All right, so it looks like the installation is completed. Firewall's popping up some notifications. And we'll just click OK there. All right, so now we have the Media Server app available as a new application. I'll just right click and select Add to Desktop, and then we'll launch the Media Server app. And you can see right there, you can go in and configure it how you like and get down to business. So as mentioned at the outset during the unboxing, the Synology RT2600ac has 4 different gigabit LAN ports. But you'll notice this first LAN port is a little special because it can also function as a WAN port. So these two right here can be 2 WAN ports. This can work as a secondary or failover WAN port. You can also do things like load balancing. So you can actually connect 2 internet interfaces, say a cable modem and a DSL modem or whatever the case may be, and have redundancy and also have load balancing. So most customers obviously wouldn't need something like that, but if you're a business customer with mission critical apps and things that need and require internet access, this can be a quite compelling feature to have. Speaking of redundancy, the RT2600ac allows you to connect a 3G or 4G dongle to this USB port right here and share that wireless cellular connectivity with the rest of the clients on your network. Now again, this is mainly for backup purposes when your primary provider goes down, but again, it's nice to have if you need it. Another feature that I find extremely handy is the fact that there is a physical power button. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of routers don't have physical power buttons. In fact, the router that I'm replacing, Apple's AirPort Extreme, doesn't have any buttons whatsoever. So this is a very nice departure from that thinking. For instance, if you're troubleshooting and you need to turn off the router for whatever reason, instead of having to unplug the power cable and having it fall behind your mantle or wherever you have the router mounted, you can just press the power button like that to turn it on or off. Super handy and super simple. And speaking of troubleshooting, there's a handy Wi-Fi button that allows you to disable Wi-Fi directly from the hardware. So no longer do you have to log in to the interface, the SRM interface in this case, to disable Wi-Fi if you need to do so for troubleshooting or whatever the case may be. Now you can just disable it right from this button right here on the router itself. Then you have the ability to manage these LED lights, which is really nice. You can turn them on, you can turn them off. You can even schedule when they come on and when they go off. So just like everything else in SRM, managing the LED lights is super simple. So all you need to do is go to Control Panel, click on Device, and then under the LED tab, you'll see only status LED on, or you can customize and create an LED schedule. So, I'll make it so that the LEDs go off at 8 p.m. and come on at 8 a.m. Simple. Quick Connect and Dynamic DNS, two features that allow you to access your Synology router from outside of your network. Now, Quick Connect is for Synology apps and Dynamic DNS is for anything else. One of the things I really appreciate about this router, especially for someone who accesses the router outside of the network, is two-step verification. So you can enable that directly from SRM. If you go into the user options, you can click on two-step verification, and then you go through, you set it up. It's just like any other two-step verification setup. You use the little QR code, you snap it, and you add it to whatever authenticator app you're using. I use 1Password. So that's where I go to get my 6-digit code whenever I need to log in to SRM. So let's try that out right now. So I'm gonna log out here. And now I'm gonna log back in. So I'm gonna paste in my 6-digit code. I already entered my username and password, sign in, and I'm in just like that. Another one of my favorite features is the built-in VPN. VPN Plus is a super simple, super easy to use VPN that is built right into the Synology NAS. You can actually download it from the package center, run it, and then once you do, you just click where it says Synology VPN, and it gives you all the details about the setup. Now, the really nice thing is that Synology has rolled out some VPN Plus apps for iOS and Android as well. So you can download that VPN Plus app directly from the App Store, and then you just put in your login credentials, and that's pretty much it. Once you're logged in, you're connected to the VPN, and you can start using your iOS device or Android device on public Wi-Fi networks without having to worry about someone spying on you. So you can see right here the data, the traffic for the VPN. You can actually monitor VPN traffic directly from the overview section of the VPN Plus server app on your Synology NAS. So just again, a very well done application that's easy to use. Now, suppose someone on your network was just being ridiculous and downloading just tons of stuff and just using a ton of bandwidth. You could actually go into the traffic control section of Network Center. You could find the offender and you can actually just click and ban them in one click. Or you could also take a more subtle approach. So I'm going to unban this user, PS4 user, and I'm going to click where it says custom speed. So you can go in here and you can actually change the amount of guaranteed bandwidth or maximum upload bandwidth or maximum download bandwidth, just like that. You can also change the priority of a particular client, just like that. But one of the things I really like about traffic control is the ability to go in and edit a device and give it a custom image so that it's easily recognizable. You can also give the device a name right from this section. So for PS4, I gave it a controller. Makes sense, right? And lastly, let's talk about monitoring and reporting. So you'll see a monitor tab under traffic control in Network Center, and this allows you to see current real-time network traffic. You can see upload and download traffic for all the devices connected to your network, which is really cool. You can also go back in time, so you can check the past 24 hours, the past 1 week, the past 1 month, etc. And when I set it back to the past 24 hours, you can see some aggregate data. You see the past 24 hours and the exact time that I used certain amounts of bandwidth. So you can see upload bandwidth, download bandwidth. And if you want even more data, you can click report and generate a report. So I created a monthly report. Just click on that, click generate report now, and it's generating that report. And I just click this little link here, and that will open up a new page with my report. And you're gonna see that it's just beautifully laid out and very clear. So you can see my upload traffic for the last month, 20 gigabytes, my download 80 gigabytes, so really not as much as I would have expected. You can also see destination overview, you can see top traffic days, really cool. You can see trends, you see application categories, destination countries, really just a lot of data in here that you can take and analyze, and it's laid out in a very easy to read manner. So ladies and gentlemen, that has been a look at 15 Synology RT2600ac features. This is a router that I'm using to replace my AirPort Extreme, and I can highly recommend it. I like it a lot. I've been using it for over a month, no issues, and it's just a solid router with a ton of power user features and a very easy to use package. One thing I don't like about it is the looks. It obviously doesn't look anywhere near as good as my AirPort Extreme, but I can live with that considering the amount of features that are jam-packed in here and the fact that it uses the latest wireless tech. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you own an AirPort Extreme or a time capsule? And if so, will you be replacing it? Sound off down below in the comment section. This is Jeff with 9 to 5 Mac.